Hello, 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 Baltimore. Good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of the weekly Employee Baltimore Show, brought to you by the Mayor's Office of Employment Development. I am your host for today's episode. My name is Darrell Falls. I am one of two workforce supervisors in the Employer Services Division. Thank you for joining us and tuning in with us today. Please hit the like button, share this link on your Facebook page, hashtag Employee Baltimore Show. We have some exciting information coming your way today. Each Wednesday, you can join us right here on the Employee Baltimore Show at 1 p.m. as we bring you the most current and up-to-date information on employment and training opportunities. Last month, we closed the manufacturing month out with a bang. That month was hosted by my powerful brother and friend and co-worker, Mr. Marvin McKinstry, one of the great workforce supervisors with the Employer Services Division. We ended the manufacturing month with Northeast Foods and Walmart stores, both with current job opportunities right now. So if you're still interested, go back to last week's show and review that show so you can get connected. Also, if you want to connect with us, you can connect with us via our webpage at moed.baltimorecity.gov. On our webpage, you can view hundreds of current job opportunities and connect to an employer services representative. Folks, right now, we are in what I like to call a hiring season. Employers all over Baltimore are looking for candidates right now. So please stay connected with us each week on the Employee Baltimore Show, where we discuss new job opportunities each week. This month, we are transitioning into the construction industry. As we have stated in previous episodes, each month we will bring you at least the latest information on jobs and trainings in various industries and business sectors. Last month we did manufacturing. This month we're going to talk about my favorite topic, the construction industry and all the opportunities and jobs that are available right now in this industry. That's right, this is the construction industry hiring month. So please share this page. We want this information out all over Baltimore. We have contractors with an immediate need for skilled and unskilled talent in Baltimore. Let me repeat this. We have contractors right now with an immediate need for skilled and unskilled talent right here in Baltimore City. Not tomorrow, not next week. We need you right now. Today, I am going to bring to this show 4 industry experts from across the city who are working on these major projects. And they're going to talk a little bit about these projects, but most importantly, they're going to talk about the jobs. They're going to talk about the jobs that you, Baltimore City residents, can tap into. Because with all of these projects, guess what, Baltimore City? You're a priority in the hiring. So this is a power-packed show today. But please let me give a shout out to my producer that's behind the scenes making this show flawless and as sharp as she is, my co-worker, our great communications and social media guru, Miss Arlie Lima. Thank you so much, sis, for making this show seamless. This is a great show, and we owe it all to you, Arlie. Thank you so much. Listen, across the ticker, Arlie will be adding web pages and links. You might want to get some pen and paper to write those pages and them links down, because those links are going to direct you quickly to where you can get access to some employment. So let's put them hashtags up. Let's like this page. Let's share this page. Hashtag CHM Construction Hiring Month, because this is the month to hire if you are, or to get jobs if you are interested in construction. Thank you so much for everyone that's going to be joining me. And joining me in this great conversation is someone I'm very, very delighted to have on this show. Before I announce this wonderful person, I just got one quick question. Did you know that right now, Baltimore City Public Schools is currently undergoing a $1.1 billion renovation? Did you know that? $1.1 billion renovation to renovate and build and rebuild schools for our beautiful young minds of Baltimore City. Well, my first guest that I'm going to be introducing, Miss Kim Douglas, Assistant Vice President, Collaborative Development with the Maryland Stadium Authority. She knows all about this project. Miss Kim and her wonderful team over at the Maryland Stadium Authority are one of 4 agencies authorized to manage and oversee the 21st Century School Building Project. Kim, thank you so much for joining me. You know, Kim, when I first came up with the idea to bring everyone on, I was like, I wonder if Kim would even take the risk and the chance of coming on this show. And you did. And I'm so happy that you did, sis. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm banking on our friendship that you're going to ask me the good questions.
Oh, I'm going to ask you the good questions. I'm going to ask you all the good questions, right? Good. So let's get right. Tell me, Kim, and just in 2 minutes, can you give us a little backdrop on how this 21st Century School Project came together and how many jobs were slated and where are we now in the timeline? How are things looking? Because, you know, we're building schools for young people in everybody's community. And a lot of those folks in the community want to know, how can I get over there on that job site? So can you give us a little bit, how did this whole project come together? Because guess what? When I look at the news, I don't hear about 21st century schools building great schools for our children.
Well, it was a community movement that actually brought us to this point. There were some really vocal activists that wanted better for the children in Baltimore City, and they mobilized. And the result of that was this 21st century school buildings program. As part of it, as you mentioned, there are 4 partners that came together to talk about how to make buildings that fit the education that we wanted the kids in Baltimore City to have, and that would propel them to a future that would prepare them for everything that they could walk into. And so at that time, it was the Baltimore City Mayor's Office, of course, Baltimore City Schools, Maryland Stadium Authority, which is where I am, and the Maryland Department of Education. And it took some time for the community, but I cannot stress enough how much of a movement the community was in getting this project to where it is now.
How many schools are we talking about? And I know it was 2 phases, phase 1, phase 2. How many schools are we talking about and what phase are we in now?
So you're kind of, that's the internal conversation. We kind of call it year 1, year 2 schools, but that's really because of the way that the planning and the design came out. There are a total of 28 schools that we are to deliver with 32 school programs. And we say that because some of the buildings have co-located schools. So some have more than one school operating in a building.
And some of the schools are being torn all the way down and rebuilt.
Correct. We have renovations and we have complete rebuilds. You're right.
That takes a massive amount of employers and power, manpower to do this. What was the manpower and how are Baltimore City residents connected?
So our partner MOED has been fantastic in getting local residents to the contractors and subcontractors on this project. As a requirement of their contract, each construction manager that you may hear me refer to as a CM is required to have a local hiring goal. They provide that goal to us. And then it is my office that tracks payrolls to make sure that they are meeting that goal on a quarterly basis. We provide them updates. As you know, Baltimore City is surrounded on all sides by other jurisdictions. And so it takes us a minute to get through the data to say if it's a true Baltimore City resident or if it's someone that's in a zip code that we call crossover. And so to go back to that contract, they give us a commitment of how many local residents they will hire new. That number is different from the number of local residents that are already on their payroll. Exactly. So our expectation was that the renovations and rebuilds would allow people to work closer to home that were at the construction, that were already employed by the construction manager, as well as the subcontractors. And our expectation was that they would also hire to put more money back into the city.
Yes, and someone came up with the great idea of making sure that the workers that work on these projects receive what is called prevailing wages. which means that these wages for these jobs on the 21st century school contracts include hourly wage, your benefits, and your overtime. Who came up with that great idea? Because that is something I don't see a lot. When I look at the job orders that come to me for these positions, I sometimes like maybe I need to jump into construction because these some serious wages.
Yeah, well, I would have to give credit to the developers of the legislation and the MOU that came about. I don't know that I can say one particular person is responsible. I will say that the state of Maryland and the city of Baltimore is invested in paying wages that allow residents to live comfortably.
And this is true because to give you an example, folks, I get job orders directly from the subcontractors that are working on these projects, on these schools. Say, for instance, Barnes and Associates sent me a job order paying drywall installers $26.88 plus $14.80. East Coast Exteriors send me job orders looking for laborers at $24.66 an hour. There is no way we should not have folks banging down our doors to get these job opportunities to work in the schools that's in their community.
I agree.
These jobs are amazing. But another great thing, you guys work so closely with the communities, and you have also a youth program component tied to the project as well. Is there some kind of youth program where you guys were preparing or having some of the subcontractors mentor some of the young people in some of the schools? Talk about that a little bit.
So thank you. That was a great program that was actually managed by Baltimore City Schools through Urban Alliance. The Urban Alliance was able to do training that lasted. It was pre-training, and I don't want to mess up the flow of their program, but they did a bit of pre-training that gave them a skill set. They were partnered with a construction manager and being able to actually work on the site. And all of this was, pre-COVID, but we had some amazing partnerships that were able to that emerged from that. If I could give a shout out to MCN Southway, at one point they were named by Urban Alliance as one of their top mentors because they were bringing in students and teaching them in a way that the students was getting so much value from everything.
And that is so valuable because in the next upcoming weeks, we're going to bring on apprenticeship programs, because one of the things we're finding is that we have to skill our people up so they can get these great salaries. The construction industry is always hiring, and we need to get our folks into these trades. So we're going to talk about that. One of the things that I love is the partnership that we have with MOED, that you guys have with the Mayor's Office of Employment Development. The MOU allows the job to come directly to me. And then guess what, Baltimore? We put it out in the street so you can tap to me to get to the jobs. And these, again, are some great, fantastic jobs with great salaries. A lot of the subcontractors want to keep you on long-term beyond just the school project. Do we know the numbers of folks who were hired from Baltimore City that stayed on with the contractors for long term? Do we have a good average that we can say to the folks out there, it's not just a short-term job opportunity. This can turn into a long-term career for you?
Yeah, so we do have a total number of Baltimore City residents that were hired, and that number is 948. And so those were positions. And so I want to be clear that 948 positions were created anew. And in some of those instances, you had one person that worked multiple of those positions. And so to your point, there is an opportunity for work and more work. If I could give a point of advice, it is to show up for the job fully and do the work that's available until you can get to the work that you really want to do. While I can't say that we have sifted through the numbers to say long-term on any one person, but we have seen repeat employees and people that have been on multiple schools across multiple contract managers or subcontractors. And so to your point, there is longevity There is longevity in this work when you show up and do what's necessary. I completely
Absolutely.
agree with that.
Absolutely. Folks, the jobs are here. 21st Century Schools, building 28 schools in Baltimore City. If you are interested and you have a resume, you're a laborer, you're an electrician, you're a plumber, you're a carpenter, man, they have so many different opportunities. If I could list on this show all the jobs that I get from this project, and the fact that we're struggling to find candidates in Baltimore City. If you know anyone, folks, who are interested and ready to work in construction, you need to get me those resumes. You can send the resumes right directly to schoolsjobs@oedworks.com if you are interested in applying for any of the jobs that you're hearing about and going to hear about for 21st Century Schools. You have to get connected to MOED to get to these jobs. We have a direct connection to these jobs. All right. Soon as the jobs come to me, I have to get someone right on those jobs. And they're right in your city. They're on bus lines. We have pushed back on the subcontractors wanting you to have a car immediately. You can start working, make that salary, and get yourself a car. Even when it comes to backgrounds, Kim, I know working in the school system, that background check has to be done. Okay,
Correct.
so we cannot allow folks to work on those schools that have violence in their background. But there are other opportunities for folks that don't have those kind of issues. One of the things I love about Nakia, I think I'm saying her name right, Nakia Weaver, Nakia over. She tells me all the time, Darrell, send me your people and let's see if they work out. So folks, take a chance with us. Even if you say, man, I got something on my record 15, 20 years ago. Send me that resume. Let's see if you can get on these jobs. Again, these jobs are coming in at 24 and above in salaries just for laborers. And this opportunity is really, really right here, right now. Yes, go ahead, Kim.
To the background check piece and the wonderful work that Nakia Weaver over with the Baltimore City Schools, 21st Century Schools building office is doing under Dorothy Hellman. They have also come up with a way that if there is something on your record that you think would preclude you, they will actually allow you an appeal so that they sit down with you and review what the item is that you think may keep you from being hired and see if it actually is a stopper to you getting employed. So I want to just reiterate that please apply, because there could be an appeals process that will allow you to be reviewed and get work.
There you go. Right there, Baltimore City. Right there. Even if there's something there, you can appeal it and you never know what might happen. We need, and yes, there are entry-level jobs. I see a question came from Pivot at Baltimore. These are entry-level jobs. The labor positions, I've had jobs come from the 21st Century Schools that did not require you to even have a high school diploma. They were just looking for hard-working Baltimore City residents, people that will come, show up on time, leave whatever problems and attitude they have behind, come on that work site, learn that job, work with these contractors, work with these developers, and build beautiful schools for our children in Baltimore City. I would love to see a person walk up to one of those schools with their child in their hand and say, I helped put the bricks on that school. I helped put the windows on that school.
Yeah.
That's construction, folks. I know folks who done construction back in the 70s. They can tell me about every building downtown they worked on and hung from, because that is very meaningful. They take their children down there and say, see, I helped build this building. So trust me, Baltimore City, this is the time to jump on these jobs. Kim, thank you so much for joining me. I am really, really happy that you were able to join me. And your wonderful staff, Nicole and Shanara, got to give them shout outs. And Shania, they are, you got a wonderful team.
We do.
And I can tell that you have mentored them. These are young folks, and I can see them in you. I can see how they function and operate. You got a wonderful team. And yes, we definitely definitely cannot not forget to mention the wonderful people over at the school board, the executive committee, Dorothy Howman, Miss Tisha Edwards. They are behind the scenes making sure this program is running and that folks in Baltimore City get access to these jobs. I appreciate you much, my sister. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm
Thank
going
you for the
to,
shout out for my staff too. I could
oh,
not
absolutely.
without Nicole Matthews, Shanira McGill, Shania Robinson, and Patrice Levermore. They are what
Can't
keep
do it
us
without them.
moving. Thank you, team.
Yes, indeedy. Thank you, team. So, Baltimore, here we go. Jobs. We talking about jobs in the construction field, y'all. Now, I'm gonna bring on another person that got really. This gentleman I've known for years, Mr. Alfonso Barney, working out of East Baltimore Development. I've known Al since we were working in other programs, and I know where our heart is when it comes to assisting and helping folks get on these job sites. I meet with the folks at East Baltimore Development Inc. at least twice a week, sometimes 2, 3 times a month. And every time we're in the meetings, the one thing that's being said is that, hey, we need to get these jobs to Darrell Falls so we can get folks that live in Baltimore City on this project. If Al Barney is on with us today, Ollie, is he with us? There you go.
I am here.
Man, look at my brother.
Hey, Darrell, how you doing?
Man, Barney, how you doing, brother? You the one with all the good jobs. Without you, man, whoo. And we really appreciate you. Trust me on this. Tell us a little bit about that East Baltimore Development Initiative, man, because I heard the word billions when it came to that. And I love hearing that number. I heard billions with the school, billions with Port Covington. Man, tell us about that project, brother.
Absolutely. Well, first off, let me thank you for allowing me to take part in the panel today. Again, my name is Alfonso Barney. I'm the Senior Director of Community Development for the East Baltimore Development Incorporated. For those who may not be familiar with EBDI, EBDI is a nonprofit organization that was created to oversee the development of an 88-acre, $1.8 billion urban revitalization project in East Baltimore. It was established in 2002 by the mayor and city council. The goal is to create a mixed income, mixed use community. The boundaries for that 88 acres, if you just think from Broadway over to Madison Park, Madison Street, up to the railroads. Those are that's the actual 88 acre area that we're tasked to.
A massive project.
Absolutely. And
that's a massive project, brother.
Yes. And to date, we had over 468 total housing units that have been completed, another 393 in the pipeline to be completed in the next 3 years. We also been able to complete 1.4 million square feet of new commercial office and lab and retail space. Goodness, we have a new pre-K through 8th grade.
Yes.
We have a new extended stay hotel. We have a 5-acre park that sits right in the middle of the project area. We have a Walgreens, a Atwater, Starbucks, Verizon, Tropical Smoothie, a Harbor Bank. There's a lot of great work that's taking place in East Baltimore at this time.
And right now, what are we working on now that you will need individuals from Baltimore City? And one of the things I'm going to say about Barney, one of the things when Barney met with us, the first thing he said, Darrell, please give priority to the folks who formerly lived in this community for the first shot at these jobs, man. And that was that really touched me because I know a lot of folks left that community and there were some jobs and they want those jobs. So folks, if you were former residents of that community, yes, send me them resumes because you are the priority for the hiring for that community. Tell us a little bit more about that, Barney.
Absolutely. And Darrell, you hit the nail right on the head. That's an extremely high priority for us because certainly through the project, we have relocated over 742 families. So we wanted to make sure that it wasn't just a relocation. We wanted to make sure that folk were in a position to maintain, their new homes. At one point, we even had our own workforce project. We had a connection with MOED where they actually had a BSR as well as a couple of project managers that actually work on site to work with our residents so that we can make sure that they were able to take advantage of, those job opportunities that had taken place. Unfortunately, due to funding, we had to stop our workforce program, but we never stopped our collaboration with MOAD. I must say, Darrell Falls has been great. He leaves himself open. He's always there. He's always a telephone call away.
Yeah, absolutely.
And certainly, he's just the type of guy we need, as these job opportunities come up, so that we can make sure that the developers have, qualified candidates to take advantage of those opportunities.
Thank you for that, Bonnie. And I know you guys, you and Karen and your whole team, you guys are pushing these subs to hire. Folks, share this link. We have jobs in construction. These are priority jobs for Baltimore City residents. Hashtag CHM. This is a construction hiring month, folks. If you're trying to get on any of these construction sites, again, we need laborers, non-skilled laborers. If you have your OSHA 10, your OSHA 30, if you have some labor experience, maybe you've done some day labor work and you want to get with a good subcontractor. One of the things too, Bonnie, you guys are also giving parts of those contracts to MBEs and MWEs. Talk about that a little bit, because they're driving forces in hiring as well.
Absolutely. Let me tell you, Darrell, that's high on our priority to make sure that, we have inclusion across the board. We do have economic inclusion goals for construction. We certainly look to not only meet those goals, but we look to exceed those goals in any that we can. For construction, we're looking at 27% MBE participation. For WBEs, 8% participation. And then for LBEs, we're looking at 20% participation. Now, in terms of where we are to date, because this project has been going on for quite some time, our MBE, we're at 32.7%. That's $150 million of the $462 million in construction contracts were awarded to MBE firms, which exceeds the EBDI goal of 27%. For WBEs, we had $29 million of the $462 million in contracts went to WBE firms. For LBE firms, we had 33.7%, which is $105.5 million out of the $462 million that went towards those LBE firms. And certainly in terms of the hiring, out of the 6,876 jobs that were verified workers through the EBDI related projects, 30% of them, 2,065, went to Baltimore City residents. So, we really pushed to make sure that we're giving everyone a fair shot to move forward, taking advantage of this work. And Darrell, as you know, we have a great team over there. And I'll tell you, this time we started off with over 120 staff members. We're down to 7 at this time. Say we're small, but we're extremely mighty, because we're still able to do what we need to do to make things happen. And believe me, economic inclusion is one of those things that stay high on our radar. We want to make sure we have a chance, but on the flip side, we need to make sure that we are bringing in qualified candidates. So it's been great in terms of working with us. Darrell mentioned earlier, I've known Darrell for years and years and years, and he's a very tough guy. And I know the type of person he is. I know his heart is in it. And I certainly can trust, his judgment when it comes to bending over folk, so that we can make sure that we have those qualified individuals. So certainly what I would say, if you are interested in trying to take advantage of some of the work on the job sites, I'll talk a little bit about some of the jobs that are available.
Yes, please do. Talk about
it. As a matter of fact, I'll go ahead and shift to that now. Currently, we have a couple of projects that are actually active and going. The first one is our Henderson Crossing project. It's a joint venture between Cross Street Partners, City Life, and Apex Builders. It sits right in the southeast corner of our project area. They're actually developing 53 units. There'll be 33 historic rehabs, and then they're going to have 10 new infill units, and then they're going to build a 10-unit flat unit. That project is actually ongoing at this time. And, you know, of course, we don't limit, you know, the type of individuals that may
That's right.
be needed for the site. We leave it open. What I would say is, if you are interested in this, trying to get some work on this site, please go through Darrell Falls, because what we want to do is we try to work with the developers and the GCs, and based off of what their needs are, we want to be able to bring folk on board. We don't want to limit it just to laborers. We want to get skilled folk. We want folk to get in, you know, in the upper management, project management. But we need to make sure that when folk are, you know, ready to come, we need to make sure you are ready.
There you go.
Just to talk about a couple other projects. I'm sorry, Darrell.
Go ahead. No, don't. Go ahead. I want to hear it. Yes.
Hey,
we need to know. These are
go.
the jobs. We talking jobs. Every project that Bonnie is talking about, send me a resume if you're an electrician, plumber, laborer, HVAC. These are the type. He's talking about projects that we need candidates in Baltimore City for. Take that away, Bonnie. Please do.
Yeah. So we also have a project. It's called Preston Place. There's 13 units that's being developed. This project is actually just up and running. We just went through the process of conveying the project over to them. So there may be a few opportunities there. We also have a project that's actually getting ready to kick off. We have a 63 for sale new construction townhomes, 1-car garage. We're in the process of going to settlement with that company now. So I know they're going to be needing some individuals. And one thing about us, what we try to do in terms of new local hires, we have like a rule of thumb. So if for every $1 million that's going into a construction project, we expect that at least one new local hire is brought on board for that project. So that for every project. Now, of course, that's the minimum. That's what we expect. But certainly all developers to do, you know, the best they can to try to include as many individuals as possible on that work site.
And that's very noteworthy. You do. Every time we're in meetings, I hear Kern, send Darrell those jobs. You Kern are pushing them jobs. So I really appreciate that.
Yes, yeah, and we will continue to do so. And I just want to talk about one other job, the site. Well, actually, it's two more I want to talk about. We have a 252 market rate rental building that's going to be online soon on our parcel, what we call Parcel K. That's going to be 1, 2, 3 bedroom units. They are going to be market rate, which means there are going to be some job opportunities available. I can't stress enough, you know, and like I said, I've worked with Darrell forever. I trust him in terms of his decisions, in terms of who he's going to be sending over. But a lot of times when we walk through that door, we need to walk through that door and make sure we're not just walking in temporarily. We're walking in prepared to not only get the job, but keep the job. Doing small things that's needed so that we can make sure that we're able to hold on to those jobs. And one thing I always said, because a lot of folk come to me, you know, and a lot of folk ask about employment. And here's the one thing I like to say, you know, when it comes down to employment, we need to make sure that we become as marketable as possible when we walk through doors. And I use this little scenario that I give, and I use it, you know, with kids, and I work with a lot of different individuals. But if you really think about looking for work and think about being marketable as you possibly can, every year we have colleges all across the state. We have high schools, we have training programs that are going to be graduating individuals that are going to be looking for work. We have folk out here now who may have certifications, degrees. They're going to be looking for work. And then we have a whole bunch of other individuals that may not have these things that may be looking for work. Everyone is in the same pot looking for work. And we need to make sure that we're making ourselves as marketable as we can so that when those opportunities come up, you can kind of overshine, or you can actually, you know, hey, this is what I have to offer. And we need to do some of those things. If it takes going back and trying to, you know, pick up a certification or doing some things so that you can better yourself, so that you can get yourself prepared for those job sites. Hey, let's do what we got to do, you know, because it makes it a whole lot easier, I'm sure, on Mr. Darrell Falls' side in terms of trying to help you get work when you bring more to the table. It's not taking away from anyone that may not have those things in line right now. It's just that we may have to clean up a couple of areas so that, you know, we can do what we need to do to receive jobs, not just for the EBDI site. I mean, in general, we just have to do what we have to do so that we can get to the next level.
Now, one of the for the subcontractors that are working on the EBDI site, Bonnie, what about the backgrounds? Are they under any type of ordinance to put the background stuff to the side? And because, you know, I mean, a lot of the folks who I see that get into this industry, sometimes they fall into this industry after falling out of the justice involved in, you know, so and their PO or someone, their family say, hey, go to Jumpstart, go to CivicWorks, get you some skills, get you some training. They're great programs. They're going to skill you up. Will our subcontractors then look at that person and say, hey, man, look, I see you invested 12 weeks over here. I'm going to invest some time in you working here with me.
Oh, absolutely, Darrell. And I'm going to tell you one thing about us and the developers that we're working with. We push to try to, you know, take subcontractors from one level to the next. We've even taken it to the level where we brought in a consultant that actually works with our subcontractors that may be trying to become MBEs or that may have some office issues, so that she can help them, you know, move from one place to the next. In terms of backgrounds, we understand. I mean, and certainly the subcontractors understand. If they don't understand, when we meet with our developers twice every month. And if there's an issue that's on the table around, you know, employment, we meet monthly for our economic inclusion meetings. We'll certainly address that issue at the economic inclusion meeting. And, you know, certainly we'll give that support as well to try to push to make sure that folk get an opportunity so that they can take advantage of some of these jobs. Quite honest, a lot of the subcontractors, they seem to be quite open in terms of working with residents. It's just the thing of, I think folk can get beyond certain things. It's just when you come to the table and you're not working in a business manner and you're not showing up on time and you have high expectations and not doing what you're supposed to do on your end, that makes it a lot rougher for the other folk that are coming behind that may be, you know, willing to do the appropriate things so that they can get those opportunities. But the long story short, Darrell, certainly we're open to, you know, working with folk. We have folk even now that, you know, may have even started their own businesses, you know, after least, and they were able to get jobs on certain projects, and they were able to bring other folk on board as well. You know,
good. That's good to know. That is good to know.
So we're certainly not excluding anyone.
Jobs, folks, construction jobs. EBDI still got a lot of work they're doing. Still need people. My email is on the link. construction@OED works. Send me these resumes. Let me talk with you. Let's see if we can get you on this construction site over here at East Baltimore. It doesn't matter if you live there currently or not. If you have the skill and you have the need for a job, let's get you this job. Let's get you to work. Let's change your life around. And one of the things you mentioned, Bonnie, is about training. I'm going to be, you know, this is the rest of this month, I'm talking to training providers, because we have to close that gap between the skill and the job. We have to close that gap in construction. And there's a lot of good folks out there, I think, that could be really seriously involved and can change their lives. We got some folks coming on that's going to talk about how you could be a plumber, electrician, a carpenter. We're not just talking about getting that OSHA license and be done. We want to see you journeyman. Okay, we want to see someone saying, hey, I'm going to pay you $45 an hour to do this job. Because that's the kind of money you can make in construction. And Bonnie, I really appreciate you and your time. Everything the folks over there at East Baltimore Development Inc. is doing. I really appreciate you coming on with me today. And again, if you're interested, folks, in working at East Baltimore Development Corp. on their projects that Bonnie just mentioned to you, please send me a resume, because I need you right now. I'm telling folks, Bonnie, we need people today, not tomorrow. I have jobs right now sitting. Landscaping, I have the jobs. Name anything in construction, I have a job for it right now. All I need is a good person, and I need some good people, and I know it's there right here in Baltimore City, the best workers in the state of Maryland. All right. Well, thank
Yeah.
you so much, Bonnie. I really appreciate you. Next up, folks, we're not done. We're not done by a long shot. I'm going to bring on a good friend, someone who has worked with us in the past, has now moved into a bigger role with commercial construction, Miss Alana Third and Mr. Jacob, the safety assistants for commercial construction. Alana is their new diversity business liaison. Alana, Jacob, man, listen. I don't know what more I can share with Baltimore City about construction. Commercial got so many projects, I would never be able to name them all. Perkins, Somerset, Morgan State. But we're here to talk about one big important project. And what's that project, Alana? Tell us about the most important project we're working on right now with commercial construction.
Well, I wouldn't say it's the most. Thank you for the introduction first, Darrell. Really appreciate that. I wouldn't say it's the most important project because all the projects are important.
Absolutely.
But we have a strong hiring initiative and hiring activity going around this project right now, and it's called the Renaissance Row Project.
Yes, yes, yes.
The Renaissance Row Project is located on the north side of Rosewood Avenue in the Park Heights community. And it's a development project that will feature 42 1, 35, 2, and 7 3-bedroom apartments. And it's a 4-story building being built. And part of the units will be set aside for residents for the low income residents and our the area median income. And so right now there's a big hiring need that we have around that project for the life of the project. And right now we're in site work, the utilities phase, where there's a lot of drywall. There's the structures are being built up, 3rd floor units are being built up as well. And so we have this major job fair coming up. It's the Renaissance Row Construction Virtual Job Fair, and we are hosting that on May 18th in partnership with the Park Heights Renaissance organization, as well as MOED. And the developer, which is Penrose.
Now, you guys see, go ahead. I'm sorry, Alana.
Oh, yes. The purpose of the job fair is to share these construction opportunities with residents in Park Heights community and within Baltimore City. So if you're a Baltimore City resident looking for a construction career, this would be a great opportunity because that's who we're targeting is Baltimore City residents.
And you guys got about 7 or 8 subs that are going to be attending this event on the 18th, looking, Jacob, for some good, solid skills, some people that live in Park Heights, 21215. Man, listen, you cannot beat this. One of the things I love about everyone that's on here, they all, number one, are connected with the Mayor's Office of Employment Development. Secondly, they're always interested in hiring Baltimore City residents and giving them a priority. Jacob, can you talk a little bit about the jobs that are going to be needed for that site at Park Heights?
Well, the jobs that are going to be needed, like you said, and like you've been talking about, we're in desperate need for laborers, but that is probably the major push right now, just laborers and being, we need more. And especially for those subcontractors, they're going to need specific duties and jobs for them. But laborers, we're very, I guess, we need
desperate need for laborers that live in 21215. Let me ask you, this need for laborers, are you willing to train entry-level individuals? Maybe I just want to try construction because I hear from Darrell it's a wonderful career in industry to get into. Can I send you guys, can someone that lives in Park Heights want to learn this industry? Is there room for that individual? Talk about that a little bit.
There's so much room for growth and development, and I think Alana will go into it, but you can start as a laborer and then you could pursue and develop yourself, develop the craft, and then go into a foreman, and then you could go from a foreman into a project manager. So especially at commercial, I'm an example of it. They want to take somebody with little to no experience, and they want to see what your goals and what your visions are, and your personal conduct, and they want to take you farther and take you further. They don't want you to stay at your role. They want to develop you.
That's great. That's great. And Alana, so one of the other things, you guys are working closely with the community to make sure that the subcontractors own up to the MOU to hire residents in the community. You are putting together a great event. What else can we do to attract the folks from Park Heights and let them know that these jobs are for you? These are your jobs.
I would say just spreading the word. It's really spreading the word. I know that there's a link that I shared with you, if you'd like to share in the chat, where people can share that link. And if anyone they know of is interested in a career in construction, this is just a great opportunity to just share that link to apply. It serves as an application for people to apply for the position and RSVP for the job fair on the 18th. I just want to go a little bit more into the types of jobs, career tracks that we're looking for, especially that the subcontractors will need. Of course, we need laborers, foremen, carpentry specialists, carpenters, finished trim carpenters. CDL drivers is a huge need for our subcontractors who are working in the dump trunk area. Electricians, definitely plumber apprentices. That's a huge one. One of our subs, great plumbing company, family-owned plumbing company. The wages or the salaries are amazing, and they provide on-the-job training. So if you're interested in a career in plumbing, there's such a need in plumbing. Welders for one of our other subs, fabricators, window treatment installers. That's training provided. Also CNC machine operators are needed for another subcontractor of ours. And so these subcontractors are looking for candidates, or let's say employees, who will stay with the company, not just for Renaissance Row project, but long term. So these are opportunities to stay with those companies to go on to other projects. So it's just not a 2-3 month job. And so they want people who are really motivated, just like we do, and who will just be committed, show up with the right attitude. There's a lot to learn on the job. You're not going to know everything. And yeah, it's easy pretty much.
So now I know that's one project too, the Park Heights project. And as you said, there's other projects commercial are working on that are also just as important. Can you talk about a couple of the other projects and what type of jobs are available for those projects as well?
Well, right now we're at a place where we're having discussions around our capacity assets around the different projects. So I can't go into detail about all of those projects, but there are other projects where opportunities will be available, such as Perkins One is a huge project. So for individuals that live in Perkins homes, if they're interested in construction training, I'll shout out I think it's KRA Construction Academy. That's construction through Urban Strategies. That's a construction training program. So I would recommend anyone that lives in the Perkins Homes area, if they're interested in construction, to connect with Urban Strategies.
Oh man,
this is a great opportunity and a track onto those jobs with Perkins.
Okay, so if you were, because you know, I'm a former project child. I remember when the towers came down, and the one thing we wanted to make sure that folks that lived there had access to those jobs. And I know the great work you're doing with Urban Strategies and Ernestine. They're over, Dr. Ernestine is over there doing the great work to make sure those residents in Perkins get connected. How do they get connected to the jobs once they're in the training? Are they sending them directly to you, or is the Mayor's Office of Employment involved?
Well, we're working out that right now, that process out, because it's still in the pre-construction phase. But I can take resumes now. I take resumes all the time, so we can have a pipeline and notify individuals who may live in the area when jobs become available. I also have a talent list that I manage, that we share with our subcontractors every month. And so as I get access to talent, I'll add that to the list. So the subcontractors will know who is available for work. And that way it keeps an ongoing pipeline to the subs.
So Baltimore City, we have 21st Century Schools. We have Perkins, Somerset, Morgan, Park Heights Renaissance. We have EBDI. We have so many jobs. I want to see folks lined up at these sites to get these jobs. And guess what? Baltimore City residents are a priority in the hiring, folks. Please send your resumes to construction@oedworks.com. Please send your resumes to me. All the jobs that Alana gets, she send them directly to me. And I look at those jobs, and sometimes I just like, whoa, we're got to get people. We need people. And right now, I keep saying this is a hiring season. Everybody is hiring right now. So, Alana, are the wages for the jobs, are those wages marketable? Are these the wages that folks say, man, yes, I want to get in there. I want to start working with commercial. I want to start working with these subcontractors. Can the folks work and get a wage that is a livable wage?
Yes, the subs are all adhering to the prevailing wage. In terms of an average for someone who's entry level, it's usually about, I know for us, 14 an hour, but it's dependent on experience. A lot of times someone can be offered more. So we're working things out internally in order to attract and retain good talent.
And what about some of our marginalized folks who feel like, you know, I have justice involved issues. Can I get a job on that site? Is there any restrictions, or is it, you know, you live in 21215, let's go to work?
Yeah, it's all case by case. So we don't discriminate.
Okay. All
based
right.
on that.
Well, folks, I'm telling you, there's a bunch of jobs. May the 18th. Alana, tell us what's happening May the 18th again. We got to put it out there.
Yes, the Renaissance Row construction virtual job fair will be happening on May 18th between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. It's virtual. So if you have a smart device, like a smartphone, an iPad, or even your computer, you can log in, but you have to apply RSVP first. And so the link will be shared in the chat with all of you, and Mr. Falls will be sharing it. I know MOED, we're partnering with MOED on this job fair. Please feel free to spread the word. Family, friends, whoever you know who may want a career in construction.
Folks, you're hearing it. You're hearing it. These companies are coming to the Mayor's Office of Employment Development because they need to hire Baltimore City residents. And they know that the Mayor's Office of Employment Development is here for the residents of Baltimore City to get you connected to the jobs. We work tirelessly every day to help businesses find good candidates. There are no better candidates in the world than Baltimore City residents. Come on and get these jobs. Listen, right now I need 2 landscapers. I need a painter. I need a carpenter. I need plumbers. I need service mechanics. I need a lot of folks right now, and you can get to work immediately. This is not a long. One of the things I love about construction is that once you meet the contractor, he makes a decision. It's not 2-3 levels of interviews like in other industries. You meet the contractor, he like you, he shake your hand, you get on that site the next day and you work. This is quick, fast work, good money, long-term careers, and trust me, if we still have Kim back in the back, and we still have Bonnie back, you can bring them back on so we can close out Ollie if they're still in with us. Yes. So again, I want to thank all of you guys for joining us. Everybody you see on this event right now, folks, they have jobs for you. We brought these folks here to tell you about the jobs. This is not political. This is about let's get up and go to work. Let's build our families. Every one of these jobs are in the communities, schools, restaurants, hotels, all can be built by you. And I really, really like to thank everyone. Kim, I am 100% happy you joined us today. Bonnie, you have been my brother forever. And Alana, you already know we just have different moms or something, but we family. And Jacob, it is good to meet you. Listen, tell my boy Gary Matthews, because I'm gonna make sure I mention my friend and Gary has been a great mentor to me. He has done a lot to help me understand the construction. And I wish, and I hope he's feeling better. And I wish he could have joined us today, but I want to give him a shout out, man, because he's a good guy. I know you're working with somebody great. He's very fun to work with. He makes work light and good. So I like working with Gary. Thank you guys so much. This will conclude this episode of the Employee Baltimore Show. Again, every week. Next week, we're going to be talking to some serious folks about apprenticeships, y'all. If you want to be an electrician, a plumber, a carpenter, be here next Wednesday at 1 o'clock. I have some great folks on for you. We're going to have a great conversation. This is going to be about information you can get right into. We need to get our folks trained. There is no reason the majority of the work that's being done and built in this city is coming from outside this city. We know that in Baltimore City, we got some great talent. We know in Baltimore City, we got some great workers. Let's show these employers what we got and who we are. Thank you so much, Ollie. I love everything you did in the background. Thank you so much, sis, for supporting me on this today. I couldn't believe I was going to get through it all by myself without my boy Marvin McKinstry. Marvin, I hope everything is good with you, my brother. We will be together again next week on the next show. Again, construction at OED works, folks. Construction at OED works. Get me those resumes. Let's get to work. Let's start playing. It's work to be done. It's a community that needs to be built. Let us build Baltimore together. Thank you guys so much, and I appreciate all of your time. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.